So hello everyone, this is Rito Broto from GNU Linux Users Group NIT Durgapur, and welcome to the very next video of web exploitation. So today we will be discussing on a method known as SQL injection. SQL injection is one of the most popular and still found web vulnerabilities that exist in the modern day internet. And in this video we will be discussing about what SQL injection is and how we can use it to exploit various web applications. So let us have a quick introduction about it. So let us assume that there is an e-commerce website having a vulnerable login form, and the login form has suppose various input fields like username, last name, first name, then passwords, then email addresses, phone numbers, and so on. Now the hacker wants to gain access to the database and retrieve all the data of the users by taking advantage of the vulnerability present in the login form. So how does the hacker does that? Is that the hacker identifies the vulnerable SQL driven website and inject malicious SQL query via the input field. Now you're thinking what then SQL query is. Well, do not worry, we will be discussing about SQL query in much more detail in the later part of the videos. So this malicious SQL query that is injected by the hacker is validated, and then the command is executed by the database. Upon successful completion, the hacker is granted access to the database, and where he can get all the data of the users, their passwords, username, whatever they have provided, and he can either view it, he can edit it, or he can delete all the data that is present in the database, and thus he can act as a database administrator. So this is possible via this attack known as the SQL injection. So before we dive deep into SQL injection, let us understand what SQL is. So whenever we refer to the term databases, you must have heard of the term called SQL. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and the a few of the most popular databases that are built on SQLs are like SQLite, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and so on. So important note about these databases is that this store the data in a very structured format, that because it relates to the relational databases, and the data is stored in the form of a table where the column signifies the various fields like username, data, like passwords, addresses, and so on, and whereas each of the rows signifies the data that is provided by the users, for example user 1, user 2, user 3, and so on. So let us discuss the attack scenario in much more details. So we have a login form that is vulnerable, and suppose it has two fields, that is the username and the password, and subsequently we have a table named users in the database. Now the table users has two columns, namely username and passwords, where username stores the names of the users in the string format, and the password column stores the passwords not in the plain text but in the hash format. Now hashing is nothing but basically a secure form of storing data which helps to add an extra layer of security or encryption to sensitive data, like for example your password itself. So what happens when we give a particular input to the login form? For example, if we type in Bob to the username and its password in its password field, the request is sent to the backend, and the data that you have provided is iterated against the entries that are present in the table. Once the username and the password completely matches the entry present in the table, and the user is authenticated and the user is logged in. So this is how the functionality actually works. Now the hacker can gain access by without any authentication and by bypassing it via SQL injection. So let us see how it happens. So before going into that, let us discuss what a query is. Now a query is basically an SQL command that helps to retrieve the data or helps to interact with the data that is present in the database. Now when you submit the form, like including the username, suppose Bob, and the password in the string format, it generates an SQL query. So the SQL queries look something like this, that is select star from login, where username is equals to the username that you provide, for example Bob, and password is equals to the password that you have provided in the string format. Now the select keyword is used to select a certain fields from the tables, and select star signifies that select all the fields that are present in the tables from login. Login is actually the name of the table from which you are going to select the fields, and where the username is equal to the username that we have provided, that is Bob, and password, that is a password that is provided in the string format. Now on successful completion of the query, you get the appropriate data and you get logged into the website. Now what if you use a single code in place of the username? Now this when you use a single quote in place of the username, it generally results in an error, and this is known as exception handling validation. So what happens that when you enter a single quote in the username, it results in three consecutive quotes, which results in SQL syntax. Now this is a very common trick to know whether the website is having an SQL database or not. So let us understand it in more detail. So when you give the single quote, the query results in the following SQL query, that is select star from login where username is equal to three consecutive quotes, which is an invalid syntax because the first quote is terminated by the quote which we have provided, and the third quote and the rest of the query results in an invalid SQL syntax, which gives an error. And whenever you get that error, be sure that it is an SQL database and it's vulnerable to SQL injection. By SQL injection, you can bypass the authentication. In the given figure, you can see there is a example of a very common payloads. Now what is a payload? Payloads are basically parts of an SQL query that the attacker injects in order to gain access and attack the database. So let us discuss the payload in much more details. For examples, when you enter the payload in the username and the password, that is quote or one within quotes equals to single quote one. This is an example of a very common payload. And so what happens is that, as you can know from before, that is select star from login where username is equals to username that you provide and password equals to the password that you provide. Now when you use the following payload in the username or in the password, you will get the following result in SQL query, that is select star from login where username is equals to this and password is equals to this, resulting from the payload that you have provided. Now let us understand the function of the payload in much more details. Now the quote that you have provided in the first part of the payload terminates the quote of the username, and or one inverted quote is equals to the single quote one. So 1 is equals to 1 is always equals to true. So the first part is actually null, and be it true or false, it does not matter because the second part is always true. And since we are using an or operator here, so false or true will always result in true, because or operator, any one parameter if true, then the entire condition is rendered true. And same goes for the password as well. So the select star from login where username is equals to true and password is equals to true, and that means what it will does is that it will dump the all the data that is present in the given database. Now we will coming about payload with comments. Now commenting is a very necessary when the SQL query is too long and you don't need so many parameters. So you can comment out an SQL query using two different methods, by using double dashes or using a hash. Now make sure when you're using double dashes, make sure to give a space after the double dash, because if you don't give a space after the double dash, you can get an SQL error saying that it results in invalid SQL syntax. So whenever you are using double dashes, be careful and use a space after it. And the main purpose of commenting is that it helps to truncate your SQL query, because in real life situations the SQL query are much more complex and having too many fields, too many parameters in it. And for making your payload to work efficiently, you need to comment out the query, and so that it gets ends there and your query is successfully run. Now let us have a quick recap of the quick useful SQL commands that we have learned. So you can end a query using a semicolon. You can retrieve all the details using the asterisk operator. You can use the comments using the double dash, hashes, and using the slash star operator. And there's the example of a payload or 1 equals to 1, that is the where condition is always true. So 1 is always equals to 1, and using the or operator, so anything or true will always result in true. And see, now let us have a practical session on DVWA, that is damn vulnerable web applications. So let us go there. So before we move on to DVWA, if you want to know more about SQL injection, then you can check out the website at Portsfigure, also known as the Web Security Academy, where they have a detailed article written on SQL injection. Here you can know about what is SQL injection, what are the examples of SQL injections, and retrieving the hidden data from it. Then retrieving data from other database tables, that is the union attack, which we'll be discussing in the later part of the video. Then examining the database and so on. And if you're interested in checking out the Portsfigure article on SQL injection, it is there in the description below. Do check it out. Now let us move on to DVWA. So here we are at the DVWA. Now DVWA stands for Damn Vulnerable Web Application, and it is a web application that is intentionally broken and misconfigured with the vulnerabilities that exist in a web applications. And it is a very good web application for pen testing beginners, as they can explore more about the vulnerabilities and they can learn about how to exploit these vulnerabilities. In case you want to set up DVWA on your local computer, you can check the description below. We will provide you with the links there. And let us proceed now. So in the username, we will type in admin, and in the password, we will type in password. Then click on login. Then come down, create reset database. Here you will see database has been created. Click on please login. Then in the username, again you have to type admin and password as password. Then click on login, and here you are at the Damn Vulnerable Web Application. Now let us first check out the DVW security. Actually, there are 4 different levels of security, that is low, high, medium, and impossible. So we will start on with the low one first, and let us move on to the SQL injection. So here you can see that there is an user ID input field. So here we will use it to inject the payload into the SQL database. So let us first see the objectives. So let us click on view help. So what does it states is that an SQL injection attack consists of insertion or injection of a SQL query via the input data from the client to the application. So a successful SQL injection exploit can read sensitive data from the database, modify database data, execute administration operations, then recover the content of a given file present on the DBMS file system, and even issue commands to the operating system as well. So this is a very severe vulnerability. And SQL injection attacks are a type of injection attack in which SQL commands are injected into the data plane input in order to effect the execution of predefined SQL commands. And this attack is also known as SQLI, that meaning SQL injection. So what is our objective is that there are 5 users in the database with IDs from 1 to 5. So there are 5 users having ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your mission is to steal their passwords via SQL injection. So what your mission is to steal their passwords. So we will start with the low level. The SQL query uses raw input that is directly controlled by the attacker. So all they need to do is escape the query, and then they're able to execute all the SQL query they wish. So let us now start with the SQL injection part. And before we do that, let us check out the source once. So the DVWA is written in PHP, so you will get the source code in PHP as actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to get an ID. We will get a given ID to the backend, and there will be a query which will run as select first name comma last name, that is the name of the columns, from the table named users, where user ID is the ID that we will provide in the input field, and the result the SQL query will run. And what we will get is that we will get the first name and the last name, and then what we'll get is that echo stands for what we'll get in printed, that is ID, first name, and surname, all separated by breaks. So let us now start with the SQL injection. So let us start with the very common IDs like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 I am getting admin, 2 I am getting Gordon Brown. So if I give more than 5, suppose 7, I'll get nothing because there are 5 users in the database. So let us start with a very common payload, that is a single quote. So as I've told you before, if it gives an error, then be sure that the web application uses an SQL database and is subjected to the vulnerability SQL injection. So let us see. If I click on submit, yes, I got an error. That is, you have an error in this SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MariaDB server version for the right syntax to use near the three triple quotes. So I've got the error. This is known as exception handling validation, and this, by this you can say that the web application is vulnerable to SQL injection. So now let us use the payload that we have discussed earlier. So that is one dash or uh, one equals to one hash. So, and then I click on submit. So what does it does is that it one dash terminates the quote from the username, and or one equals to one equals to one is always equals to true, and anything or true will always be equals to true, and we have commented the rest part of the query. So what does it does is that it rendered true for all the IDs present in the table, and it fetched all the individual entries. So what we need is actually the passwords, and in order to get the password we need something known as the union attack. So let us learn about the union attack before implementing it in the damn vulnerable web application. So as we have seen in the DBWA that there is an user ID, and where you can provide with the ID, suppose 12345, and there is a submit button, and we have already checked that it is vulnerable to SQL injection. And there we have in the two tables, that is names and users. So in the names column we have the two columns, that is the first name and the surname. So let us study the union attacks in much more detail. So in the DVWA, you saw that there was a user ID input field, and we were giving input like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're injecting the SQL query in here. And we have seen that it is vulnerable to SQL injection. And in the database, there are two tables, namely the names and the users. And in the names, there are two columns, that is the first name and the surname. And in the users, we have the two columns, that is the user and the passwords. So when we gave in the user ID, suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we got the corresponding first name or the surname. But we actually want the password, which is stored in another table called users. To retrieve the data from the other table in the database, we use this union attacks. So let us know about it in a much detailed manner. The union keyword lets you execute one or more additional select queries and append the results to the original query. So it helps you to run one or more select queries at a time. And the sample can be seen here, that is select a comma b from table 1 union select c comma d from table 2, where a and b are the columns in table 1 and c and d are the columns in table 2. This SQL query will return a single result set with two columns, that is containing values column A and B in table 1 and column C and D in table 2. For a union query to work, two key requirements must be met. That is, number one, the individual queries must return the same number of columns, and the data types in each column must be compatible between the individual queries. That is, if it is in the string format, then the expression should also be in string. Now you must be wondering that how can we find the number of columns that are present in the table. So for that we have two methods. Number one is order by. So in the order by method, we have to inject the following payload, that is quote followed by order by one dash dash. And if you do not get any error, that means there is at least one column present in the table. So we will continue up to n times until you get the error that the order by position number n is out of range of the number of items in the select list. When you get it, be sure that there are n minus 1 columns. For example, when you suppose inject quote order by 6 dash dash and you got an error, that means that the table has 6 minus 1 columns, that is 5 columns. Next, we have another method, that is the union select method. The union select method works on the theory that all queries combined using a union, intersect, or except operator must have equal number of expressions in their target list. That means, suppose you have 5 columns, so you need to have total of 5 expressions. Similarly, when you have suppose quote union select null dash dash, and when you run it in the query and if you get an error, that means the table does not have a total of one column. It has either more than one or less than one column. So Therefore, suppose a column is number is 3. Therefore, the number of expressions should also be 3. Therefore, when you run this payload, that is quote union select 3 times null and separated by commas, and then you comment out the rest of the query, this will result in the execution of the SQL query. This is because the number of columns was 3 and the number of expressions is also 3. So in this way also you can find the number of columns using the union select method. Then we come to the attack portion. So when you have determined the number of columns returned by the original query and found which columns can hold the string data, you are in a position to retrieve the data you're interested in. For now, we are interested in getting the passwords. So we will give an ID, that is a random ID, suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll end the query using the single quote, and then we'll use our union keyword, and and we will continue with our own payload. For example, union select user comma password from users dash dash, and now user and password are the two columns present in the table called users, as we have seen from the source code. So let us use this payload in the DBW and let us check whether the we get the appropriate passwords or not. Now here we are at the DBWA, and let us check by running the SQL query. So it's 1 dash union select user comma password from users, and here we go. As you can see here that I have the passwords in the form of hashes. So let us crack these hashes and find out the password. For example, in the first case, or admin, we'll go here and let us go to the website called crackstation.net, and let us clear the captcha, crack hashes, and as you can see the password for admin was the string password itself. Now let us continue it for other users as well. For example, Gordon B, and as you can see the password for Gordon B was ABC123. In this way you can get the passwords for all the users stored in the database. So if you want to practice more on SQL injection, then you can go on to the following links. All the following links are available in the YouTube description below. You can check them out. And thank you for your patience, and do like the video and subscribe to the Glug YouTube channel. And until then, stay safe and may the source be with you.
Back from the dead.